Good morning, YouTube. It's 5:15 a.m. Monday, May 16th, 2022. So yeah, it takes me about an hour and 15 minutes to get home if I catch the bus that arrives a little bit after 4. I'm thinking it showed up it was supposed to show up at like 4:06 or something. It ended up showing up at 4:04. So yeah, I was worried it'd be a couple minutes late, even though the app was showing it would be a minute late, or a couple minutes early, even though the app showed it would be a minute late. It's just a matter of there's no traffic on McDowell at 4 in the morning, so yeah, those buses are able to get ahead of schedule really easy. And of course, if you call into Valley Metro and tell them, hey, I was at the bus stop on time, or at the time the app said the bus was going to be there, but the bus missed me, what happened? They always say, we'll get there 15 minutes early, which is kind of silly, because when you walk to a bus stop after work, you get there as soon as you get there after work. It just kind of is what it is. But I did cut that video off short a little bit, just because those two people that walked up, it would have been super awkward if I kept talking to myself with them there. I thought they were young people that were maybe just recently getting off work at a fast food place down the street, but super awkward. They gestured to me to get in front of them when the bus showed up, and I realized that I didn't have my bus card in the pocket that I normally have it in. So I was still kind of shuffling through my pockets trying to find my bus card. Did I say the date and time? I did, yeah. So anyway, so I was... So anyway, they got in front of me, and then apparently they didn't have money for bus fare or cards themselves, ended up getting off. It was kind of awkward. So last time I walked this way, there were homeless people squatting here, and it looks like they left a substantial amount of garbage. And a milk crate, that's always handy. The homeless people in this area don't bother me nearly as much as the garbage that they just seem to have a need to leave behind. I don't know. I look at urban camping the same as I look at camping in general. And one of the rules that was instilled to me regarding camping is to leave nothing behind. To leave, pack everything in, pack everything out, leave everything as you found it. But I guess that's too much to ask of the homeless population, which is kind of sad. I don't know. It just really frustrates me, because I'd have to sit down and figure out how, it'd be probably impossible for me to figure out how many years of my life has been spent homeless, and it'd probably be more realistic to do that in months, but whatever. It's definitely more than 2 years of my life that has been spent homeless. And then, of course, one has to kind of figure out, what constitutes homeless. And now, of course, the term is houseless, which I think is funny. I live in an apartment, so, by definition, I'm houseless, because I don't have a house, I have an apartment. So, yeah, those terms are the way they we'll try to figure out what the politically correct term is. It just becomes silly. But it is really hard to say, what defines homeless. If you're living in your car, are you homeless, or do you have a home because you have a car and you live in it? And what about somebody that lives in an RV? That's considerably more of a home than a car, but if they don't actually have a lot space that they're regularly renting and receiving mail at, are they homeless? And is that the difference between being homeless? Having a lot that you're able to receive mail at for your RV? Because it doesn't change your existence in the RV a whole lot. But there's certainly a difference between somebody that's, traveling in their RV and existing that way, versus somebody that's in a disabled RV that, I don't know, has been parked, not mentioning anybody specifically, but, has been parked at 79th Avenue, just north of a certain Amazon warehouse I work at for the last several months. Yeah, it's definitely a difference in level, So is that person homeless? or are they considered to have a home because they have that RV and they found a place where they can keep it parked? And what about the person that still has family and friends that they can rely on, and they're able to, live on that relative's couch? Is that person homeless? It's not their home. If the person they're living with is renting, it's highly likely that person isn't even on the lease. Is my girlfriend who lives with me, is she homeless? Because she's not on my lease. What exactly is the definition of homeless? Anyway, it's certainly different than the definition of litter bug, though, and it's very frustrating seeing people that are just constantly camping in parks like this one that I'm walking adjacent to that feel the need to leave piles of garbage in the spot where they were hanging out for several hours or several days, consuming food and just generally existing. And it's certainly something that I did go through a phase of my life for a while when I lived in Denver, where most of the time I crashed out at a friend's place, but I did regularly sleep in a park just outside of downtown Denver. I don't think anybody would have ever thought I was homeless. I just probably looked like some dude that was taking a nap in the park on a beautiful day. But that kind of was, I didn't have any place else to go at that time of the day, and that just was kind of a comfortable part of my routine. I had a daytime job. Hey, look, that purse is still there, and as I imagined, it looks to be empty. I'm gonna go ahead and grab it. Maybe I'll donate it to Goodwill. Yeah, as I expected, that's probably a stolen purse. Somebody stole out of a car or something and emptied of whatever valuables they could out of it and just littered it here in the park. Nothing else. I'm helping clean up the park. So, anyway, as I was saying, I used to regularly sleep at Confluence Park near downtown Denver. And I had a job, a day job at the time. I worked opening shift and lunch rush at the Burger King in the Tabor Center. In the Tabor Center food court, which last time I went to Denver a few years ago, that didn't exist anymore, and I was highly disappointed to find that out, that the area that used to be the Tabor Center Mall and the Tabor Center food court had all been turned into just private office space. That used to be a really great, unusual, like, urban mall, and it was a great downtown food court. I have so many fond memories of it, so it's very disappointing to go down the 16th Street Mall and see that the Tabor Center building was still there, but that the food court and mall were no longer. But yeah, I was an opener, and I worked the lunch rush. Sometimes I work later in the afternoon, but usually I was cut after lunch. And to be fair, that Burger King didn't do a whole lot of business after the lunch rush. Not a lot of nighttime business in the Tabor Center food court. Back in 1989 or 1990, whenever the hell I was working there. But so I'd get off work at typically about 1, 2 in the afternoon, and then I had a night job at KFRR, which was a radio station that was also in downtown Denver, and that job didn't start until I want to say like 5 p.m., 6 p.m., something like that. So my routine for a while was to walk over to Confluence Park and take a few hour nap in the park. But I never littered in that park. I always made sure, even if I did like munch on something before I went to sleep, that I had a backpack, and I made sure that it was under my head with one arm through it. That way nobody would be tempted to steal it from me while I was snoozing. And then I made sure that I left nothing behind when I left, and went to work at KFRR. And then after I would leave KFRR, I would usually walk over to Muddy's coffee shop and hang out there until well, whenever I had a chance to leave with somebody who would, generally speaking, let me crash on their couch, or perhaps in her bed, depending on who it was. Anyway, oh yes, memories. And yeah, it would have been nice to, live the life of privilege and have gone to college at that time on my parents' dime. But yeah, that didn't really work out for me back then. And I thought I was working towards a great radio career, but that didn't work out for me either. Anyway, I'm almost home. If I was trying to make a point, I don't remember what it was. Mostly I just started this video to show the garbage left behind from the homeless people at behind the hospice there in the old Crosscut Canal Park, and to explain why my last video ended so abruptly. But kind of funny that purse was there and it was as empty as I predicted it was. Anyway. Yeah, it doesn't get me home a whole lot earlier than if I was driving and was waiting for the end of my shift, but after as god-awful as last night was, I'm just ready to be at home in bed. And I do still need to text my mechanic and let him know what happened, so he has some idea of what's going on when he gets to his shop and finds my car once again in his driveway. Anyway, thanks for coming with me on the walk. And some days I really wonder if all the struggle I go through is really worth the life that I have. I really wonder who's better off. My nieces Bree and Tiff, or myself. I don't know. It's kind of a crapshoot at this point.